So I'm here at the beach for a little bit. So I thought I would show it with you guys. Okay. So hi. Okay. So let's see. Hang on. I'm gonna show you guys this. I just love this kind of weather. So I want to find a spot where we can chit chat without disturbing people's peace. But so pretty. Actually, let's go down to my cave. I can show you guys my cave. Okay. So anyway, I was thinking today about faith, and it was really funny because for a while I was really struggling with just like, you go through these phases, and I love C.S. Lewis talks about this in Mere Christianity. And he says sometimes when you're, if you're an atheist, there's times where it feels like that God is real, and you're having moments of doubt in your atheism. And then there's times when you're, if you're a believer, and there's moments of doubt when you're a believer. You're going to have doubt kind of no matter what. That's the nature of humanity. And it's funny because faith is a gift. Some people are given, more faith. And God tells us that we can ask for more faith. And what is faith? And I was really thinking about this because it's not good to have false hope. And I don't think that God wants us to go around having a bunch of false hope. Let's see if we can find a place to sit so you guys can see the ocean. Let's see if I can turn the camera. Can I turn the camera on? Maybe? Yeah, I can. Cool. But let's see. Let's see here. This is beautiful. So, God doesn't want us to just have a bunch of false hope. He wants us to have real hope. And real hope is faith is the assurance of things hoped for but not seen. So we have faith that Christmas is coming around because we know that it will come around, even though there's no decorations up yet, even though, we haven't seen anything that's going to indicate that Christmas will come around. We know that it's going to come around at the end of the year. And, some people might say, well, yeah, but you've seen Christmas before. You've never seen God before. And it's true. I've never seen God with my eyeballs. But I look around at all this beauty. I look at the order of nature. I look at the order of the human body. I look at the order of music and of good art. And I read of the times that God has showed up in history. I think about the times that God's showed up in my own life when things looked very, very bleak. And I am reminded constantly that, I may not see God with my eyeballs, but I can sense him in so many other areas, so many other ways. And one of the biggest things that Satan always attacks is your emotions. And so he likes to, I used to think a lot more that, Satan was always out to get you. But really the thing is, you're almost out to get yourself. We all have human nature, and human nature sucks, And then there are evil forces that really just hate your guts because you're human, and they don't want to see you be happy. They don't want to see you be close to God. They want to shape you into their own image because they think they're better than God. They think they know better. They like the world without rules and borders and beauty, because then they get to reign free. It's kind of like bullies on the playground. They like to reign free, and so they're going to destroy any rules or anything on the playground that makes it so that people are just having a good time. They like to terrorize people, and that's how Satan works. He's a little terrorist. But if you're having a hard time with faith, it's not about like believing that everything is going to be okay. It's believing that everything could be okay, but you'll be okay if it isn't. And faith is like, God could do anything. I'll be okay if he doesn't, but I believe that he can do anything. And I think the hard times is sometimes we put faith in the things that we want God to do. So we might say, well, if God loves me, he'll give me a good job, or he'll heal my body, or he'll amend this relationship, or he'll bring this person to the Lord. And the truth is, God could do any of those things, but everybody has free will, and he wants it to be so that even if he chooses not to do those things, or if the other people operating with him choose not to do those things, you're going to be okay. But always believing that he could do it, because that's the thing. Sometimes we sink into like, well, I've never seen that happen, so like God couldn't heal my body. But the thing is, just to always have God could do it though. He could. If he wanted to, he could. And not even if he wanted to, because I think sometimes we get this idea that like, well, God just wants me to suffer, and the truth is, like, the suffering that we have, it's only going to feel like 10 minutes once we get to heaven. It's just not that big of a deal. Like, even if you end up getting your head chopped off or your body sawn in half, like some of the, people still do that. Like around the world, there are people who have had their heads chopped off because they believe in Jesus. There are people that have been sawn in half because they believe in Jesus. And even then, it's just, the suffering is so small. And I think like when we get there and we look at the books and God's showing us all the things, we're gonna be like, man, I wish I'd suffered more. I was so into being comfortable, and it was really only about 10 minutes, and then the rest of my life I'm living with the rewards of what I've gotten. So if you're going through a tough time right now, be counted, you should feel kind of good about that, because if you're suffering because you love Jesus and Satan hates you, then you're doing something right, and you're an enemy. You're an enemy of Satan, and that's pretty cool. Now, I wouldn't get all caught up, and I think a lot of people get overly caught up in the super spiritual side of things, and there's spiritual stuff going around us all the time. I think if our eyes were truly opened, we would be freaking out, because we would see things, we would see entities. That's why I think a lot of times people who take drugs, your inhibitions are knocked down, and you do start seeing things. You start seeing the entities that are actually around us all the time. And one of the stories that I wanted to share with you guys today about the faith thing was that my mom, once upon a time, she was a new believer. She was really struggling with her faith. I'm going to turn the camera on so you guys can see me really quick. But she had asked, she had been, kind of asking God, like, okay, what do I do with this new life that you've given me? And my mom she totally had a huge turnaround in her life. She was, she was like a little sailor, she's more like a sailor. She played rugby. She was just like a total tough trick, totally opposite from me. I'm tough, but in my own way. So it's very different, but I'm so grateful to have her as my mom. But anyway, so she was just kind of, struggling in her life, and she was wondering, what do I even pray for? And so she was at a bus stop one time, and this man was sitting there, and I think, Mama, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he had like a huge cowboy hat on, and they started talking, and he was talking about that he was a light bulb salesman. So he sold lights. And he started asking her questions about her life, and she said, I feel like I want to be closer to God, but I don't even know what to pray for. And he said, well, pray for faith and wisdom. And then he gave her his business card and walked away, and she couldn't see him anymore. And when she told us the story, it was like, was that an angel? And she's like, I think it might have been. And I was always like, did you ever call the number? Because I always had that like little kid fantasy about, can you call heaven? I always thought that would be so cool. But yeah, so it's, it's interesting, pray for faith and wisdom. And if that was an angel, I just think that's the coolest thing ever. And so, I pray for faith and wisdom, and I will pray for that for all of you guys. And the thing is, in our day-to-day life, when you are pushed to have more faith, it can be the most frightening thing, but then once you get over it, it's really rewarding. Like, I don't know, sometimes it's like, I don't know where the next meal is coming from. I don't know how long we're gonna be, we're planning on moving. I don't know how long we're gonna be in that house, and it's just like, you don't know what the next day holds. I don't know how long you don't know how long your body's going to hold up. You don't know how, you don't know this and that and this and that. But once you get to that place where you're like, I will do what I can do, and I will do my best, but I am not going to freak out about it, and I'm going to give it up to God. It's the most rewarding thing ever, because you're like, well, I can't, and that's why Jesus said, you can't add an hour to your day by worrying about things. Like, you can't, you're not going to add a hair to your head by worrying about it. And when you do your best, it's not about like just sitting back and not doing anything. Do your best, obviously. But at the end of the day, it's like, why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress out about it? And when it comes to spiritual things, it's like, pray for faith, pray for wisdom, do your best, and then let God do the rest. And there's people that are coming and people that are not coming, and you can't stress out about the people who are not coming and the people who are coming. And the truth is, like, if someone is God's, they can't get away from him. There's no, like, God is he's too big for that. So yeah, but I just wanted to share that thought with you guys, and hopefully it was kind of coherent. And I'm sorry I'm shivering, I'm cold, but look at how beautiful this is. I mean, it's just beautiful. There's mountains peeking out over there from behind the islands and everything. It's just beautiful. And you know what? It's you can be content. You really can be content. You don't need more things, you need more peace. And that's the thing. It's like, you have this internal world that people just always want to run from. They want to run from that internal world, but that's what you have to focus on. Because if you're focusing on the external world to make you happy and make you peaceful, you're always going to be sad. So sit in that quiet place with God and be like, what am I really, and what do I really, really want? And help me long for the things that are good, because we can long for things that are bad. We can want things that are not good for us. So that's where the wisdom comes in. God, give me wisdom about what is good for me and what really will make me long-lastingly happy, not only just in this life, because this life is so short, but what's going to make me happy for eternity. Is there an eternity, God? And ask him those questions. So anyway, I love you all so much, and I will hopefully see you guys soon. Take care, have a great day, and be strong.